Football is a beautiful game. Well, not always. There can be a lot of bad blood and players can absolutely hate each other. One reason for this is that some football legends hate each other. From Ibrahimovic and Raphael van der Vaart to Luiz Suarez and Patrice Evra, these are football legends who hate each other. First in this video are Keane and Patrick Viera, but before we find out what the bone of contention was, kindly smash the like and share buttons. Also, please subscribe to this channel if you are new here. Patrick Viera and Keane. Long before Manchester City and Liverpool battled against each other in the Premier League, Manchester United and Arsenal dominated English football. Their rivalry was quite intense. The two teams had hard men that just couldn't see eye to eye. So who were these guys? Introducing Arsenal's Patrick Viera and United's Keane. Viera was to Arsenal what Keane was to Manchester United. They were both the engine rooms of their respective teams. They were leaders, legends, and larger than life. The two met so frequently each time both teams had a game, especially in the late 1990s and early 2000s. The two players had different bust-ups on the pitch, and at Highbury in 2005, things spilled outside of the pitch. So, before that match began, Gary Neville barged into Robert Pires, but Pires had none of it. He was having a go at Neville, but then Hardman Viera interfered, telling Neville to keep quiet. At that point, Keane came and did not like Viera squaring up to Neville, so he told Viera this iconic statement, "I'll see you on the pitch." Major goosebumps, but that was Keane for you. He was a warrior, and it wasn't only Viera he had famous battles with. He also fought with Haaland. No, not that Haaland. I'm talking about Erling Haaland's dad, Alf-Inge Haaland. Keane and Alf-Inge Haaland. Alf-Inge Haaland, Erling Haaland's father, played for Manchester City before his son, the goal-scoring cyborg, joined them in the summer of 2022. However, unlike the younger Haaland, who is having a smooth time as a City player, the older Haaland didn't exactly. And that's because of the man himself, Keane. As you have seen with his tunnel battle with Viera, Keane can be a very aggressive player. United fans love the aggression and the no-nonsense playing style, but other fans and players didn't. In 1997, when the older Haaland was at Leeds, he and Keane dueled for the ball. Unfortunately for Keane, instead of winning the ball, he got injured as he ruptured his anterior cruciate ligament. Haaland didn't know this at that time and mocked Keane, thinking he was trying to win a penalty. Keane didn't forget this and didn't forgive. His vengeance would be brutal. Fast forward to 2001, Haaland had moved from Leeds and was now a Manchester City player. He probably had even forgotten about the incident. Then came the Manchester Derby, and it was war. Keane, powered by his vengeance, kicked Alfie high on the knee, and that kick turned out to be a devastating career-ending challenge. As he would reveal later, he didn't exactly go for the ball. He just wanted to take Haaland out, and he did more than that. He ended Haaland's career. Keane got fined at first for 3 games and £5,000. Later on, it increased to £150,000 with an additional 5-match ban when he wrote a book about it saying he planned the tackle. Alfie would never forgive Keane or United players, even going as far as to say he hated them. No wonder Haaland didn't join United. Now, Oliver Kahn and Jens Lehmann. At the time, Oliver Kahn and Jens Lehmann were the first and second choice goalkeepers of the German national team. This didn't seem like a major problem. Well, at first. Kahn was the undisputed starter and was on top of the world. However, there was a change in 2006. Germany hosted the World Cup, and the German coach decided to bench Kahn and start Lehmann. Kahn wasn't used to being the second choice goalkeeper, so he blew things out of proportion. This became a major issue between both keepers, and they were enemies for a while. Kahn just didn't like to be number 2. Gerard Pique and Arbeloa. The bad blood between Lehmann and Kahn was a fight for supremacy, but that wasn't the case with Pique and Arbeloa. Pique was a Barcelona star and Arbeloa a Madrid star. It was a rivalry born from the mighty depths of the El Clasico. What caused the battle between the two players? A tweet. This feud is a little bit different from the others on this list, but it was still a feud that was all the same. So Arbeloa took a dig at Barcelona when they were playing Atletico Madrid, tweeting, "Look how difficult it is to win against 11 men." Pique was annoyed by the tweet, as it suggested Barcelona could only win if the opponent had a player sent off. At the time, Arbeloa had only played twice for Real Madrid that season, and Pique responded that he didn't need to talk to a player who has only played once in 35 games. Ouch. Pique didn't stop there. He also added, "I'll say to him what my friends say to me, which is that when you're not a protagonist on the pitch, you shouldn't try to be one off it either." Double ouch. This was an epic roast, but at least it's way better than what Mauro Icardi did to Maxi Lopez. Mauro Icardi and Maxi Lopez. Maxi Lopez and Icardi are currently bitter enemies, but this wasn't always the case. Both men were the best of friends and even went quite beyond friendship. They were like brothers, but Icardi just didn't know that there were boundaries. Maybe he did, but he certainly didn't care. The friendship between Lopez and Icardi extended to their families. Lopez, his wife, Wanda, and Icardi hung out frequently. Well, Icardi soon began having an affair with Lopez's wife, and that was the beginning of the bad blood between both players. Now, things could have remained at this level, but the situation got messier than anyone could have imagined. Beyond simply having an affair with his friend's wife, Icardi went on to start a proper relationship with her, and this led to the end of Lopez's marriage. Just when it seemed like Mauro Icardi had done the worst thing anyone could do, he got a tattoo of Maxi Lopez's children. Lopez must have had quite the laugh when things crashed between Lopez and his ex-wife Wanda. Mauro Icardi stabbed his friend in the back, but he isn't the only football player who has done something like this. Former Chelsea captain John Terry has done something similar. John Terry and Wayne Bridge. Captain, leader, and cheater. That's definitely how Bridge would describe Terry. Terry perhaps doesn't have a lot in common with Mauro Icardi, but it's interesting how the only thing they have in common is something that really shouldn't be talked about. They both bedded women that they had no business being romantically linked to. John Terry broke the hearts of English football fans when he bedded Wayne Bridge's partner. Beyond breaking the hearts of football fans who held him in high esteem, he destroyed his friendship with Bridge. Now, Terry sleeping with Vanessa Parancel was terrible, but that wasn't all he did. He got her pregnant, and it gets worse. He got her to have an abortion. Things were under wraps for a while, but the whole world soon knew the man Terry was when everything blew up. William Gallas and Kolo Toure. Moving away from relationship-related feuds between players to a feud that can be traced to teammates not supporting each other. The football community will always remember Ivory Coast's Kolo Toure and France's William Gallas as some of the best defenders to play for Arsenal in the last couple of decades. These guys made Arsenal so solid defensively. Sadly, they were tired of being defensive partners at some point. Although they still maintained their spots in the heart of Arsenal's defense, there was a bone of contention between both players for a long time. As a matter of fact, things got so bad that both players refused to speak to each other both on and off the pitch, which affected Arsenal's performance in matches. What happened between these two legends? Well, Gallas had an epic meltdown at St. Andrews in February 2008 after Arsenal bottled a lead against Birmingham. Gallas, who later on felt like his teammates didn't have his back, had to be escorted off the pitch by then-coach Arsene Wenger. Speaking of Wenger, he was the one that prevented Toure from leaving earlier due to the feud. However, he couldn't keep Toure, who forced his way to Manchester City later on due to the battle. Now, Toure leaving should have meant Gallas staying, but that wasn't what happened. Just like his rival, William moved to another Premier League side. Toure and Gallas leaving Arsenal brought some peace to the squad, and the same happened in Ajax after Zlatan left them to join the old ladies. We will see more of this in a moment. Luiz Suarez and Patrice Evra. Suarez is one of the best players to come out of South America. He is even one of the best players in the world. He battled with football aliens Messi and Ronaldo, and even finished a La Liga season as the highest goal scorer at a time when Ronaldo and Messi were at their prime. He is definitely a great football player, but beyond being a great player, Suarez had a bad attitude, and folks didn't like him for this. He had a reputation for digging his teeth into other players' arms, and one person who knows this too well is Ivanovic. But biting other players isn't the only wrong thing Suarez has done on the pitch. This thing he did made Patrice Evra hate him. Evra probably would have had no problem if Suarez had simply bitten him. The South American racially abused him and called him Negrito. This incident occurred in an October 11th match between United and Liverpool, and it caused a disagreement between both players. It will always be one of football's darkest spots. Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Raphael van der Vaart. If you think Suarez had a bad attitude, then perhaps you do not know much about Ibrahimovic. You see, just like Suarez, Ibrahimovic was a fine player. However, being talented was just one thing that both players had in common. Another thing they shared was their reputation for getting into fights with other players. Zlatan has been involved in fights with various players, both with opponents and teammates, and the fight between him and Raphael van der Vaart was epic. Zlatan joined Ajax as a young and promising talent. He was one of the young players to watch out for, and his arrival at Ajax was great. Sadly, there was a problem. He walked into an Ajax team with Raphael van der Vaart as their captain and best player, and soon there was a fight for supremacy. Zlatan probably thought he was better than his captain, and his attitude showed it. Due to this, neither player could see eye to eye. Well, this rivalry ended when Zlatan moved to Juventus. Not long afterwards, van der Vaart joined Hamburg. Although this wasn't good for Ajax, their rivalry could have gotten a lot worse if they had remained in the same squad. And it's a wrap. Thanks for going all the way. So, which of these players do you think hate each other the most? Kindly tell us in the comment section below. Before moving on, like this video, share and subscribe to this channel for more. See you in the next video.